Will the House please come back to order? In accordance with the provisions of Uniform Rule 51, I turn the gavel over to the President of the Senate, the Honorable Gary Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will this joint session of the Alaska State Legislature please come to order? Madam Majority Leader Giesel.
Mr. President, I move and ask unanimous consent that the roll call of the Senate be waived and all members shown as present.
Thank you. Without objection, so ordered. Mr. Majority Leader Kopp.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move and ask unanimous consent that the roll call of the House be waived and all members be shown as present.
Thank you. Without objection, so ordered. This joint session was called for the sole purpose of hearing United States Senator Lisa Murkowski's annual address to the legislature. Will Senator Kawasaki and Representative Freer please escort Senator Murkowski into the chamber?
Ladies and gentlemen, the U.S. Senator for the great state of Alaska, the Honorable Lisa Murkowski.
Well, good morning. Good morning. Yes, yeah, that's what we like to hear. Wow, okay, it is good to be back. I know I'm not supposed to start with a little bit of a tease, but we were waiting for the Senate. Senates around the world, I swear, are just notoriously bad at telling time. And so Speaker Edgman and I decided that we would maybe just go into the Senate gallery and go sit down and watch the debate. We missed our opportunity. Maybe next time. But Speaker Edgman, good to be back with you. And to President Stevens, thank you. Members of the legislature, it's good to be back with you as we continue our annual conversation about the future of Alaska. You know I love being back in this building, and I think it shows because I get just kind of animated about the energy. Sometimes it's really hard, sometimes it doesn't feel very good, but there's a lot of energy that goes on here. And it takes me back to my time in the legislature, a time that really helped shape me. And it taught me a lot of really important lessons, and know that the lessons learned here are ones that continue to guide me in another body across the country in the United States Senate. And because it does feel like home, I always start with giving a little bit of the family update. I just had an opportunity over the weekend to spend time with my parents. It was Dad's 93rd birthday, so they send their best. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Dad, he said, what's the registration fee for running for governor? And I'm like, Dad. He's still rattling cages, let me just tell you. But he's doing well. Vern and the boys are well as also. They continue to be my strongest supports, and I appreciate them a great deal. I also travel with some good, strong supports. I've got some members of my team that are back in the gallery there. Logan is holding up the wall to the right. Logan, anybody that's interested in transportation, he's your man there. Sam Hratzika is with me on the Senate Indian Affairs Committee. So great man who's been serving Alaska well. Angelina Burney, many of you know Angelina not only from my office, but when she spent time here in Juneau. Kate Williams is next to her. Kate handles my election matters, my judiciary matters. She's my general counsel in the office, and a local Juneau girl. And the other local Juneau woman is Kara Hollitz, who is my northern southeast regional coordinator. And then I've got folks that are sprinkled around the building today. So as you see them, know that we're here as a resource to you today and really going forward. So as I'm looking out, there's some new faces. Good, it's great. But as I look out, I'm just reminded of how things do change with time, and you're not really approaching the end of session yet, unfortunately. All you need to do is look out the window there and say, okay, we're going to be here for a bit. But you've got some retirements that are coming up that are more than a little bit bittersweet. And it's always been kind of comforting, President Stevens, to know that you have my back, literally, but knowing that this is the last time that you'll be behind me for this address. And Senator Hoffman, in the back, he always sits tucked way there in the back. But this is probably going to be the last time in this forum that you're going to be able to grill me about what have you done to bring down the price of energy in rural Alaska. I know that you're not going to not be delivering that message to me going forward, but maybe not from the place that you're sitting just now. But when you think about these contributions, Gary, it's been 25 years, and Lyman, you've given nearly 40 years, and all throughout all of this, all throughout these decades, you have kept your passion for Alaska. You have led, you have delivered for Alaskans, and so to both of you, truly to both of you, thank you for everything, including your decades of counsel and your friendship to me. I value it enormously. But also to the women and the strong supports in your life, to Lillian and to Rita. We owe them eternal thanks and gratitude as well. So over the years, these two gentlemen have built strong partnerships with every member of the U.S. delegation, your federal delegation, with administrations on both sides of the aisle, with so many of you and others who preceded you. And that's what I want to speak to today, about how we can follow that good example to work together as legislators and as partners for Alaska. So I'm kind of the closer this year. You've already heard from Dan, you've already heard from Nick about the legislation that we have been successful in advancing for Alaska, including the highlights from the budget reconciliation bill from last year. So I'm not going to take our time this morning and repeat much of that, but I would only observe that our accomplishments are not solitary, but they're the result of teamwork, and where we all do our part to kind of pull that sled along for the state of Alaska. And what the two of my colleagues shared, that there's plenty of room for optimism, is absolutely right. We have kept federal income taxes low. We've made the child tax credit permanent. We provided tax relief for everyone from waitresses to whaling captains. We made historic, absolutely historic investments in aviation safety, and of course, for our Coast Guard. We're going to be home porting the newest ship in our growing icebreaker fleet. I know over the years you've heard me say a little bit cynically, that you cannot call one ship a fleet. Well, we are changing that dynamic, and it is exciting to have the Storis home ported here in Juneau soon. In October, we're going to be commissioning a new guided missile destroyer that is aptly named the USS Ted Stevens. So thank you to so many who've been working on that. On the national security side, we have strengthened enormously through strategic investments across our state at JBER, at Eielson, Fort Wainwright, Greeley, the Pacific Spaceport Complex, and more. We secured over $465 million for military construction in Alaska this year alone, including for new barracks at Fort Wainwright, the runway expansion at JBER. There's $40 million for the Arctic facilities sustainment, renovation, and maintenance. So the investments that we're making in this space are considerable. I've shared with some of you, but I think it is exciting news, and things, put it in the bucket of things we need to get ready for now. A major project on the way for JBER. This is a state-of-the-art fighter campus recapitalization that will support multiple platforms. So this is coming, and it's coming soon to our state. And of course, the national security relies on more than funding, relies on more than technology. Above all, it requires the courageous men and women who risk their lives on our behalf. And so I want to recognize the active duty and the Guard members who carry the weight of that service. But to all those who are serving now, from the 11th Airborne to those who respond to Russian incursions in the 18th, the FIZ, the Fighter Intercept Squadron, so proud of those guys. The 168th Refueling Squadron do amazing things. The 176th Air Defense Squadron, the 210th, the 211th, and the 212th Rescue Squadron. Thank you. Thank you for keeping us safe. And as we recognize those who are serving now, it's always appropriate. Every day it's appropriate to recognize and thank those who have served us in times prior. So I know that, that there are many of you who have committed a level of service to our nation, and I would just ask that you just rise briefly so that we can publicly acknowledge you today. Thank you. Thank you. So as we're meeting this morning, nothing is going better for Alaska than resource development. Our state is no longer the special on the menu, but we are the heart of the plan. Just think about it. Willow is on track. Pika is nearing first oil. We've restored access. We've mandated lease sales. We'll soon keep a greater share of the revenues from our petroleum reserve, the coastal plain, and then in Cook Inlet. And you know, when you think about the good news, and not just the good news that Alaskans are looking at, but what we just saw about 10 days or so ago, that first NPRA lease sale, the best ever. Fully half the revenues, more than $80 million for Alaska, with rightful priority for the North Slope. We're seeing companies returning to the state, like Shell, in a significant way. This is real, this is meaningful, this is now. And of course, as we're looking at all that is happening around the globe, in light of the geopolitics and supply disruptions, this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity to finally bring our natural gas to both Alaskans and to Asia. Think about where else we are making headway. We put billions of dollars on the table to help rebuild our mineral security through projects like Graphite One up in the Nome area. We've got the Ambler Road. I noticed a couple people had a pin, a King Cove pin on today. To the patient and the persistent people of King Cove, they now own the land for their life-saving road. That road is going to be built after decades and decades and decades. That's good news for us. So another highlight for Alaska, and it's one that you don't hear discussed necessarily in these ledge speeches, but I'm going to raise it today, and that is congressionally directed spending. We used to call them earmarks, but we call them congressionally directed spending. They make up less than 1% of the discretionary budget. They don't increase spending on a net basis. But this is a part of what we've seen come to Alaska that is making a difference. And I'll tell you, as an appropriator, it takes a lot to wade through the hundreds of requests that we receive every year. And I get why some offices choose not to participate. But for me, as far as I'm concerned and my team, this work is entirely worth it. Over the past 5 years, my team and I have secured just over $2 billion for the state of Alaska. So I'm just going to point out to my good friends in the back there, Lyman, Bert, it's comparable to the state's share of the capital budget over that same period. So I was hoping that this might even actually impress Lyman. But seriously, these projects make a difference in your districts. Looking at Representative McCabe over here, Senator Rauscher, your constituents in Caswell and Sunshine, Talkeetna, Trapper Creek, Willow, they're going to have some help on childcare through the funding for the Sunshine Station Child Care Center. Representative Moore and Senator Yount, I saw where he was sitting here, Senator Yount back there. We directed funding to Wasilla's Set Free Alaska to build recovery residence facilities. This is going to help expand their capacity to help Alaskans heal and recover from substance abuse. To our speaker and to Senator Hoffman, with federal dollars, Chignik will gain a new water distribution system. I happen to think that Alaskan communities deserve to have clean drinking water. So we have hundreds of examples like this for clean water, heavy equipment, workforce development, housing, public safety. And it's not my team and I that are sitting and dreaming up these projects. They come from you. They come from legislators. We hear from mayors, from city council members, from community leaders. The state of Alaska asks for help. And we then work to lock in the requests and to bring them home. And so know that this is, when we're talking about partnerships, this is one way that we can help you, but we need to hear from you. We need to have that coming from home. Now, we've made some good progress on legacy legislation, bills that we have written and have worked out over multiple Congresses. You all know legislating takes some time. We'd like it to move quicker, but icebreakers, we've been working on those for 15 years. But you got to get things teed up and ready to go so that when you can move, you move. Many of the measures the delegations has passed over the last year reflect Alaska Native priorities, whether it was extending the Vietnam Veterans Allotment Program, returning control of ANCSA's lands, as well as ensuring that elders and individuals with disabilities are not inadvertently excluded from federal assistance programs. So we've made some good progress there. We've also enacted Bruce's Law in memory of Bruce Snodgrass. I think we have Bruce's uncle up in the gallery, Mr. Ashlock, a friend of ours. But I'll tell you, this bill didn't become law, would not have become law, were it not through the force of a woman, Sandy Snodgrass, whose determination to stop fentanyl from taking additional innocent lives carried that measure to the president's desk. So it's individuals like Sandy Snodgrass working with you, working with us, that make a difference in our laws, but make a difference for the individuals. So, so we're working on kind of what's coming up next. What do we have on the legislative horizon? I've got my Working Waterfronts Act. Many of you have weighed in with commentary on this. This is designed to help our coastal communities. We've got measures to streamline permitting for hydropower projects and advancing new technologies. We've got so much potential around our state when it comes to hydro and just really marine hydrokinetics. So we're working to advance that. We've got a big measure that we're working on to convert the recommendations from the Commission on Native Children into legislation that addresses child welfare, behavioral health, nutrition, education, housing, and more. So we're going to be introducing this in the next month or so. But this is substantive that really goes to the heart of what we see in so many communities with the health of our children. And so I say there is so much that we should be positive about right now. And again, it's based on partnership. It's based on partnership, not necessarily personal triumph. I can stand up here and say, I got you that. But you know what? We all got it. We're all working together to do good things for the state of Alaska. But just as we talk about the good things, I think it's also important to not just talk about the good stuff. I'm not going to stand here and tell you everything is fine in the world, all is right, because you know that's not the case. This is a moment for optimism, and we should take pride in all that's going well. But we should also recognize that this is a time that demands realism, where we acknowledge our challenges and what it takes to address them. And so as I delve into this part of it, part of my purpose this morning is to help perhaps translate some of what is happening outside our state and the implications for us here in Alaska. And we can start with the crises around the world that are impacting Alaskans now, from military service members who are deployed abroad to rural residents who are already feeling the echoes of war through higher fuel prices, shipping surcharges, certainly more expensive groceries. We pray for those who have been lost and for the safety of those in combat in Iran. Now, there's no question the world would be better off without a fanatical, terror-spreading regime in charge there. But it's not necessarily clear at this moment that that's going to be the case. And then here at home, people are confronting a volatility and economic hardship. I mentioned fuel prices. I'm worried. I'm worried about the impact of higher fuel prices, but I'm also worried about shortages of our ability to get refined product. This is something we all need to be paying attention to. This is why also for years I've warned against LNG imports. I mean, we have to ask the question, how would we be feeling right now if South Central was competing against most Asian nations for cargoes of LNG? We need to be thinking about that. Now, most of our focus right now is on the Middle East, but we must not lose focus on Ukraine. We stand with President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people. This is now their 4th year of war. A 4th year of war. They're still holding their own, even after an awful, deadly winter. But they are holding their own against Russian aggressors. And there's no ambiguity here. Russia has chosen Iran over regional stability. You've seen the reporting out there, it's public. Russia is helping Iran to target our troops and military assets. And then meanwhile, Ukraine is sending teams to the Middle East to help knock Iranian drones out of the sky. Even while they are engaged in their own battle, they are saying, this matters over here. Every day for us here in Alaska, I'm reminded of our geostrategic position that this state holds for our nation's national security, whether it's intercepting the Russian bear bombers at our ADIZ, or knowing that American troops can deploy more quickly to the Middle East out of Alaska than anywhere else in the country. And then beyond the geostrategic importance, the opening of the Arctic presents incredible opportunities for us. I think we recognize that, whether it's resource development, maritime shipping, tourism, but we're also seeing the region drawing unprecedented attention, and not all of which is welcome or good. I don't think that Alaska is better off. I don't think that the region is more secure when the U.S. threatens allies like Greenland. That pushes them away instead of reinforcing the partnerships that protect our mutual interest. And this is something that I've been deeply engaged with. I think we're going to be fine, but we need to remember that these relationships matter. So in the midst of everything that is happening abroad, just kind of bring it back to here in the United States and in the Congress. The Senate has been debating a measure that is known as the SAVE Act, or sometimes the Save America Act. Count me in. I strongly agree with the premise that only citizens should vote, and voters, it's reasonable you should have to show your ID. The problem here is with implementation. Under the Act, it requires that original documentation to prove your place of birth, your citizenship. Your original documentation has to be presented in person. And right now, it's clear that it can be presented to your Division of Election Offices. We have 6 of them in Alaska, a state that's 1/5 the size of America. We have 6 offices. We have 4 of them that are on the road system. The other one is here in Juneau and up in Nome. But what this effectively does is, if it says if you are required to present in person, if you're living in Ketchikan, you got to come here to Juneau. If you're in Barrow, you've got to go down to Fairbanks. If you're in Unalaska, you're coming into Anchorage. And so registering to vote, the registration part of it, is going to be harder, and it will certainly be more costly for many in Alaska. The other concern that I have about this is this has an immediate effective date. No time for voters to kind of figure out what's going on, that now I've got to present some documentation here for registration if I haven't been registered yet. And to your situation, it doesn't provide any resources to the state to help with implementation. So this bill, again, well-intended, and the premise strong. It was not intended to disenfranchise Alaskans who can rightly vote, but I fear that that could be its effect. So as we're talking about electoral reforms, I want to commend you all. I want to commend this legislature for doing things the right way. Senator Murkowski, I visited with you earlier back there. Representative Vance, keep going down here, Representative Vance. Thank you. You and so many others have worked for multiple sessions to build consensus, to build a bipartisan consensus for a legislative package. And I think what you've put together will fundamentally improve Alaska's elections. So thank you for that. So as you are working at the state level to address that, I hope you're also paying attention to the SAVE Act, which would impose costs and change how elections are conducted here. And I hope you're also tracking a case that's moving through the Supreme Court. They just heard this a couple weeks ago. It's called Watson versus RNC, that would prohibit states from accepting ballots after Election Day. So that would change a great deal of how we approach our elections. So these things are important. They're coming at all of us, so eyes on them. A different sort of threat to Alaska is emerging as the administration and some members in Congress are targeting the Small Business Administration's 8A contracting program. Those who don't understand 8A are trying to tear it down, even though it delivers value to the federal government and it helps fulfill the promise of ANCSA. And I want to be unequivocal in this area. We need to protect 8A. We need to. This is the ANCs who utilize it, the Native corporations who utilize it, employ tens of thousands of Alaska, but it serves as an unheralded economic engine for our state. And so when they're under attack, Alaska's economy is also under attack. Another concern, federal spending, which arrives here as federal funding. Federal debt projected to reach a shocking level of $64 trillion in a decade. Not there yet. It's not Alaska's fault, but it's also not sustainable. And so we're going to have to address it. And Alaska will need a legitimate fiscal plan as the federal budget inevitably tightens. Now, we're all watching what's going on with the price of oil. It's higher right now. We're sitting at over $100 a barrel. But higher oil prices right now are no substitute. The windfall will only go so far and last so long. And I think it's much better to get revenue from volume than it is from price. So I want to thank the House majority here. I'll just do a shout out to you for calling for fiscal restraint. Good for you. Because we can't count on anyone or anything to bail us out of our fiscal woes. Only a long-term plan will truly end the cycle of boom and bust. So we're all watching, and we're all thinking, how can we take advantage of this moment in time? But we also need to be thinking long-term and thinking wisely. Now, I'm telling you some of the things that I think you all want to do, and I'm not going to stand here and say, you guys have work to do. We're just fine in Congress. Not so. Federal government is often beset by chaos these days. That's a nice way to put it, Lisa. We're looking at the situation with the Department of Homeland Security, been shut down now for 46 days. We have seen workers, whether they be TSA, FEMA, some in our Coast Guard, working without paychecks. We've seen many of our Alaskan families impacted as they move through long delays in airport security lines. But the problem that we're dealing with here is shutdowns are becoming far too routine, and too many policymakers are just becoming numb to their impacts. These impacts are real. These are real, and they are harmful, and we cannot use a shutdown as a form of a political football. It's not great here. It's not great there in Congress right now. But we have to admit, we got to look at ourselves honestly here, and I'm just going to say it out loud. There are areas where the state also is perhaps not meeting expectations. And one of those areas, just going to offer it up here, is matching funds. When the delegation secures a federal allocation, we really need you to come through with your share in a timely manner. We need you to meet the match. And it's not just the big ones, the obvious ones, like transportation. It's some of the smaller ones, too, like for USGS to bring shake alert to Alaska, to give us some early warning on earthquakes. And sometimes it's not even a match. Sometimes it's hiring a couple employees to unlock federal dollars for our state. And that's what we've seen. Some of you are familiar with the microgrants for food security program. Within just a few years, we've been able to seed projects that are feeding thousands of Alaskans. And again, it's not a match, it's just a couple staff that are needed there. You know it's coming, so here it is, Alaska Marine Highway. I can't stand in front of you all without reinforcing, reminding the priority for Alaska's coastal communities. This is our transportation system, or certainly one of them, and a very key one, that's important not only for Southeast, but it's important for our state and our state's economy. And it is. It's statewide. We have to recognize that when one region benefits, other regions in our state benefit. I made Alaska Marine Highway system a priority in the bipartisan infrastructure law 5 years ago, and through that bill, you've heard me say we've received about $700 million over the past 5 years, and there's more on the way. But the fact of the matter is federal funding for AMHS is a lifeline. It's not an entitlement. We're going to try, but there's no guarantee that we're going to be able to renew it at any level. And so it's not a good strategy to rely on a temporary competitive federal grant program to cover 45% of our state's operating costs, all of which used to be paid for by the state. That's the case that we're facing right now. So, don't want to go lecture-y, I'm not. But I think you know my passion for this as a transportation system and how it knits into our broader statewide system. Healthcare, a worry for me, I know a worry for you all. I mentioned the reconciliation bill earlier in my speech. I held my vote out from the reconciliation package. It was not a pleasant time, but I needed to make sure that Alaska would see the adjustments, the flexibilities built in, whether it was delays, exemptions, but basically the funding needed to minimize the harm to Alaska. And even with all that we gained with that, I worry about those Alaskans who may fall through the cracks as requirements change. And that was, again, one of the reasons why I held firm as we negotiated the Rural Health Transformation Fund, pushing to double that funding and demanding that Alaska be a priority within it. And as a result, you've heard it, Alaska will receive the second most dollars of any state and the most per capita, about $1.3 billion in all. But the state needs to do dramatically better on this 5-year effort than we did on ferries. Just putting it out there. Because if we don't, Alaska's funds can be redirected elsewhere, and we will miss a generational opportunity to improve care. And I'm going to do a shout out. I don't mean to signal to Lori Wing-Heyer, but Lori, you, Senator Giesel, Representative Mina, on the advisory task force, you know the big job that we have in front of us. It is considerable, and we need to stay on this in order to secure the full benefits to our state and doing right by health care for Alaskans. So thank you for your work on that as well. And Representative Jimmy, since I'm singling out folks here, I want to recognize you because I read the statement that you made when Congressman Begich was here about the human toll that Typhoon Halong continues to take months afterwards. And you're absolutely right. Hundreds of Alaskans have lost everything, and it only adds to that devastation that some they've lost hope and they've taken their own lives. So my commitment to you is we will not forget those that were devastated by this storm. I mentioned that I'm going to be chairing a field hearing of the Indian Affairs Committee on this in Bethel in May. We need to keep pushing our federal officials to provide the relief. we have to demand, I will certainly demand, that it will be Alaskans that have been impacted by this storm that determine their futures going forward. So we will work on this together. Our fisheries also remain in crisis. And we know when salmon runs collapse, it threatens the food security, the culture, and the way of life of so many Alaskans. And the reality is that these declines cannot be attributed to one factor alone. There's no silver bullet out there to solve a very complex problem. But when faced with causes beyond our immediate control, like climate change, I think it's understandable why the discourse focuses on what we can control, bycatch. So don't get me wrong on this, but there is absolutely more that we can do to reduce bycatch, and we need to do it. Senator Sullivan has a bill that I'm a co-sponsor on. This is the Bycatch Reduction and Research Act. But I think we also need to be cautious about demonizing one sector of Alaska's fisheries at a time where we need to be working together to find solutions. Commercial fishing provides good jobs. It's the economic backbone of dozens of our coastal communities. And while it's often easy and often appropriate to point fingers at Seattle, I think it's important that we remember that many Alaskan towns and villages are suffering after losing their fleets and their processing plants. So life isn't necessarily better without them. We need to have sound science. That's the foundation of sound management. And we need constructive dialogue that respects the needs of communities upriver while also recognizing the benefits of industry. And we need to focus on what it is that unites us so that we can conserve and we can responsibly harvest one of our most precious and irreplaceable resources. So, brings me to education. This legislature's decision to increase the base student allocation was a great step, so thank you for that. But I find it just appalling in certain cases that we have, to this day, so many Alaska schools that remain in such disrepair. I've been in the schools. I've seen the black mold, shown where the asbestos is, the bathrooms that don't function, the roofs that are literally collapsing. And that's one part of the problem. Another part of it is who's in the building, how we are able to hire and retain good teachers. That requires districts to be able to pay teachers enough to live here. It requires municipalities to build housing that is affordable on a teacher's salary. And it requires competitive retirement benefits that aren't falling behind the lower 48. Because we got some teachers in the back. So right now, the fact is, and you know it, Alaska doesn't produce enough of our own, and so we're seeing many of our teachers that are hired from abroad. And you know what doesn't work for that? It's the president's $100,000 fee on H-1B visas. That may work in places like New York City, but it doesn't work in Kodiak. It doesn't work in Kivalina. It will devastate our ability to recruit. So I've introduced a bill to exempt teachers. I'm pressing with our new Secretary of Homeland Security for an administrative fix. So we're working on the federal side of it, but Representative Galvin, I want to thank you for raising the awareness and advancing the resolution on this in the legislature. That helps us, so I appreciate that. We need to have great teachers to help train our workforce. And that's another area where, again, we're back to this whole issue of a partnership. Non-residents now make up almost a quarter of our non-government workers. And it's compounded by an unprecedented 13 straight years of net out-migration of working-age adults. So We're not growing enough of our own, and when we do, we're not keeping them. Now, this is not a slight to the university. I think they're our best engine to reverse these trends. We know that kids who graduate from our university are far more likely to stay here. So that's good for us. Pat Pitney's done a great job. We're going to miss her. She's leaving the university in good shape. I'm excited about what we're seeing with the recent rebranding of UAF as America's Arctic University. It's great. Enrollment continues to grow there. We need to support our university system, but that's not enough either. Ultimately, this goes back to making Alaska the best place to work and to raise families. And we do this through improvements in public safety and housing and childcare and schools, community services, all of those things that make the life here so special. And yet, as we think about our workforce, Alaska has always been a state that relied on newcomers to fill out our workforce, to move our biggest projects and our industries forward. Now, I think it is undeniably good that President Trump has closed the southern border to control it, and I credit him for doing that. But yeah, it is. It's important for our security. But when the extension of these policies results in a mother in Soldotna and her 3 children being taken into custody, with the mother deported and the oldest put in jail, I think it's time for serious reflection and reform of our legal immigration policies, in this country. So, my point in raising these topics is Alaska has big needs that demand strong leadership. We got a lot going for us. We have a lot going for us, but we have to be clear-eyed about our challenges. We need to tackle them head on, and we need to remember, we are in this together. We are in this together. We are a state that is 1/5 the size of the country. I remind people about this all the time. And so it is understandable that oftentimes we think about our needs regionally. It's southeast versus the interior versus southwest versus south central. No, there should be no versus. There should be not us against them. Our economies are interdependent, and we need to avoid the temptation to break down by region or by party, because neither of those best serves our state. When Alaskans support one another, we all rise together. And I think this is an opportunity for us now. We are in the semi-quincentennial, our nation's 250 birthdays. It's hard to say semi-quincentennial, but I've been practicing all year, so I'm glad I didn't trip it up. But there's no better time for unity than as our nation recognizes this moment. This is a reminder of how incredibly fortunate we are to be Americans, to be Alaskans. We are blessed to live in this great state, and even more blessed to be able to represent this great state. We get to wake up, we get to work for Alaska, but we also know that's a responsibility and that people are counting on us. People are counting on us. So let's make the most of our time. Let's set aside the politics, the regionalism. Let's focus on partnerships for all of Alaska to achieve as much as we can for every part of our state and for every person in it. Thank you for the honor and the privilege to be in front of you and with you again today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Senator, are you willing to take a few questions?
Yes, how long was that? We had a bet as to whether or not I was going to be longer or shorter than either Nick or Dan, and I just had to check on the time. I don't know. Somebody will tell me.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
Mr.
Senator. We'll start with Representative Stutes has a question for you.
Thank you, Mr. President and Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Senator, for joining us today. We certainly appreciate it. And let me start with saying that my heart, and I'm sure I can speak for most people here, go out to our troops and others that are in harm's way because of the war in Iran. But that being said, in the House, we're in the thick of putting together the state's operating budget. With increased oil prices, we're looking at additional revenue for the state. However, the other side of the coin is that Alaskans are looking at higher costs for energy, transportation, food, and other goods and services. If this conflict continues, along with high oil prices, Senator, do you see maybe some unforeseen impacts that might be taking place in this state that we aren't seeing?
Representative Stutes, thank you for the question because it is something that we are following very closely. I think when it became apparent that the conflict in Iran was not going to be just kind of a quick one and done and we're out, but that the Straits of Hormuz have effectively been shut down. The impact on the world in terms of access to oil, but not just oil. It's everything else that comes through the Straits of Hormuz. And so fertilizer. We're going into the growing season. Fertilizer prices are through the roof. I'm told that some of the materials that go into certain refined products, 100% of them come from the Gulf states through the Straits of Hormuz. And so for those in the oil industry that are relying on certain lubricants, it may be an issue in terms of being able to gain access to any of that. We are starting to feel and to hear the impact of what not only the high prices may bring, but the shortages that may come with it. I just received a letter, the delegation received a letter March 28th, so just on Saturday, regarding fuel supply and potential for constraints in Western Alaska. Those communities that receive their fuel products, their refined products in the spring when the barges come. The concern is it will not only be expensive, but the real question is whether it will be available to purchase at all. Now, to me, that's potentially terrifying. If you're a community and you've just thought, okay, we've made it through the winter, we're going to be okay. Spring barge is coming, and now we may be in a situation where it's not just affordability; it is about access. And the reason that we're seeing this is because as these particularly on the refined product side, Asian nations who would have a pretty steady flow coming out of the Middle East no longer have that, and so they're doing what they need to do in order to meet their demands too. And so we're kind of the end of the chain here. These are concerns that are just now coming to light. Now, it may be that the president is able to resolve the war, and we have Iran kind of stand down and the straits get opened up. But you got to be honest. This kind of a disruption, the extent of this disruption, You can't just flip that switch right back on and pretend that it's going to be okay. And so I don't have any easy answers for us right now. Maybe the best news that we have is that we are coming out of winter instead of going into a winter season. But still, we have communities I'm becoming increasingly anxious about, and me and my team are literally, as we're speaking, trying to figure out, are there other avenues that we can be looking to? So we're starting to hear now from communities that will not be able to pay certain of their fuel bills. You go into default on some of those, your ability to be able to access for next season. We may be seeing a snowballing effect. So I wish that I had something that I could give you that says, I feel like this is going to be ending relatively quickly, but I don't have any more information on that than the rest of you do. So I think as Alaskans, we need to do as best we can to be prepared for the unintended consequences, or just the consequences of what happens when you have a choke point like we're seeing, and a war in the Middle East that impacts not just us in Alaska, but the entire world.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Giesel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator, welcome. We
Thank
always
you.
look forward to your visit. It's a joyful time, even though not all your news is great news.
I'm
But
sorry.
I want to take you back to healthcare.
Yes.
To the Rural Health Transformation Project. We also know that Congress is considering some serious cuts to federal healthcare funding to help fund the Iranian war and the ICE activities. They're looking at a $200 billion reduction in healthcare, we read. Senator, we're already facing major Medicare cuts in funding and in work requirements, so I'm worried about the effect on our most vulnerable. Senator, at this time, for the Rural Health Transformation Program, we have over 1,800 letters of intent. That is a huge number of ideas,
Yeah.
and it represents needs, Senator. It actually causes me to reflect back 56 years ago when our U.S. Senator Ted Stevens began his time in the U.S. Senate and recognized that even our rural communities didn't even have clinics. He transformed rural health care back then. Now it's our job to continue that through this funding. But what I'm wondering, the Department of Health is doing a great job bringing in a wide variety of stakeholders to bring input and to help with the evaluation and how we move forward. But I'm wondering what advice you would have for us. We're told that capital expenditures are restricted. So what is the definition for renovations? What would you encourage us to do to make sure we retain this money? And what are you worried that we might fumble? Thank you.
Well, it's an important question. Before I get to what am I most worried about there, I just want to put some context to this supplemental request that is before. It's not even before the Congress. What we have been told is that there will be what they're calling an Iran supplemental. That will be, the reported number is $200 billion. It has not been sent to Congress, so we don't know if that number is actually real. We also don't know if that number is just related to Iran or whether it is related to broader things. Right now, there's great anxiety within the agriculture community. We haven't seen a farm bill in a while. Fertilizer prices are up, and so we don't know how expensive this is. So this is something that we are deeply attuned to, but we don't know where it's going yet. There is now talk of an additional reconciliation bill coming to the Senate literally within the next month or so. I don't see how we can possibly move that quick to put together a reconciliation bill that would address the spectrum of issues that the president has suggested should be included in it. It's everything from pieces of the SAVE Act on election reform to more on health care. It is something that has not yet been defined. So that's another one. Stay tuned. In terms of the Rural Health Transformation Fund, first of all, I want to acknowledge the governor's team. They have been just eyes on, full focused, and dedicated in trying to do all that we can to network with CMS, the folks back in Washington, D.C., here in Juneau, us, the federal delegation. So they're doing the right things here in setting us up. The timelines are aggressive. We get that. We need to make sure that we don't let any of those timelines slip. You know what these reporting periods are. You've got your first one coming up the end of August. And so we've asked if we haven't been able to meet certain requirements by the end of August, does this somehow jeopardize anything that might be coming our way? We don't have certainty to that. That's something that, again, is evolving in real time. So I think one of the things that we need to be doing is we need to be in close contact with not only the governor's team, those of you who are representing through the legislative side, and I recognize that the legislature's role in this is perhaps a little bit different. You got to sign off on the Federal Receipt Authority, but it's the eyes and ears that are going to be so important to this coming together. You've got the issue of the licensures that is part of that. Does 5 of 6 qualify? Or these are some of the things that we have yet to have any true clarity, so that we can all sleep easy saying, okay, we're good in this space, we're not so good over here. You ask about the construction side of this, and this is something that we had advocated for. We know that in Alaska, the way that you're going to really transform healthcare is when access can be had, and in so many areas, access isn't possible because we don't have the facility. But we've also been very innovative in Alaska over the years. We led in Alaska when it came to telehealth, and this was actually something that Senator Stevens really helped lead on that. Our Alaska VA pushed out on telehealth far earlier than others, and so we have done some innovative things. We've been held back by our broadband capacity. We're now in a much better place. So this administration is really leaning in on the technologies that are going to make us smarter, better. I have that awful Aura Ring thing. It finally ran out of batteries. I'm tired of being told I have a sleep debt. But it's technologies that they really want us to lean in on. And it's good to utilize technologies as long as we have that base layer. And we got to make sure that that piece of it is in place as well. So I've already been asked, are there certain things that we can change in this? This is a ship that's moving and moving quickly. And so rather than try to say, we don't like these pieces over here, we need to focus on those areas where we can move, and we can move fast. One of the things that is encouraging is what we're hearing from the people in CMS. We're talking to them all the time. And they're impressed with how far Alaska is already with our application. They're impressed with, I think, what they're considering Alaska's level of innovation. And keep in mind, we just do this because we have to. You've got other states where you have so much infrastructure invested. You've got resistance to change because everybody is, they got their stuff that they want to make sure their program continues, and they don't want to see the new innovation. So I think we can actually be more nimble than we think we can. It's maybe okay it's the Eleanor Roosevelt. Do something that makes you a little afraid every day. Well, I think in this one we're a little afraid because we got a lot of vulnerable people. But I hope that charges us up to really be committed to be working together. CMS has been a good entity for us to be working with right now in terms of information sharing. I didn't introduce Cassidy Hobbs. She's not sitting back here, but I know she's watching the TV somewhere, and she's like, "Don't mention my name." But Cassidy has been doing a phenomenal job on our team, just being that intersect with so many of you. She is my resource, but she is also yours.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Ruffridge.
Well, thank you, Senator, for being
Thank
here.
you.
It's always good to see you. I know you've been a supporter of our infrastructure and our development in the state for many years, and you've mentioned a lot the economic and geopolitical implications of what's happening with Alaska Energy, most specifically not being tied to foreign imports of natural gas. So I'm wondering how the Alaska LNG project fits into your work in DC, and then what actions that you see might be critical both at the federal level and at the state level for advancing that project.
Yeah, thank you for that, Representative Ruffridge. So in terms of my engagement, my involvement, it was actually back in 2004 that legislation that I had introduced and actually got signed into law that set up that first loan guarantee. So that's been kind of the template that we've been operating off for a long time. We've been trying to get this thing moving since then, and we have updated that and expanded that over the years, which I think has been significant there. In terms of what everybody needs to do, there is still more at the federal level that the delegation is working on with regards to federal loan guarantee. Here, I'm not going to get into your business. I've already suggested a few things that you should and shouldn't do, so I'm not going to tell you here what you're going to have to, how you're going to resolve this issue of the property tax. That is very real. That is very real, and this is important for us as Alaskans. Because as valuable as this project will be and the return that it will give us going forward into the future, there's going to be real impact to our communities up and down the state and along that proposed route, where if you have to forego, whether it's 90% of your revenues or property taxes, whatever that number may be, and you're seeing the impact of that through increased. Love to have more students in our schools, but you're going to have more. You're going to have more challenges with public safety. You're going to have challenges on your infrastructure. So these are hard things that we have to figure out now. And you've got a timeline that was aggressive to begin with, and now I think it becomes even more. I don't know if I want to say timely, but maybe more important as the world is thinking about, well, where do we get our natural gas? Where's that coming from? And how is it getting to us? And is there a choke point? And then all of a sudden, Alaska becomes a lot more interesting into this picture. So my encouragement to you is to do the homework that you need to do as representatives for people around the state to make sure that this is going to be right, not for one project developer, not just for one administration, but this is going to be right for the people of Alaska going forward. And you've got a right to demand information, because this impacts all of us. But this needs to be a commitment that we make as a state for our state's future long term. So I know you got bills in committee that are going through some of this stuff right now. I didn't give you the answer.
Thank you. Senator Kaufman.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator, for being here. Appreciate
you.
your work. The events in the Middle East and Iran have, as you described, the negative effects of it. And we were just talking about the gas line. Appreciate your comments there. But do you think there's any other push coming from D.C. collectively, as we're an energy provider, and there's this unfortunate, perhaps, window of opportunity that's been created by the infrastructure that's been destroyed? And I guess, do you see any short-term rapid things that might be coming out of D.C. to try and respond to that, that could also help us here as we try to produce resources?
Yeah. I think it was Rahm Emanuel that said you never want to let a crisis go to waste. I never liked that expression, but it is important to actually put things in context in terms of what is happening now. You may the situation in Iran is not good. The situation as it's going to impact Alaskans in their homes is not good. But could the state benefit because there is this increased focus on resource shortage or the volatility that comes with resources, and what can we do about it? There are some things that could happen. For instance, there are emergency powers that could be put in place when you have a national emergency as it relates to access to energy. You can expedite permitting to make a project come forward more quickly. You've actually seen a few steps that the administration has taken to try to reduce the price of oil. Whether you agree or disagree that the Jones Act is a benefit to the country, that was one action that he took and said this is presidential waiver authority. So there are things that can be done that might change the landscape a little. I think for those things that could be most enduring going forward, if there could be some permitting relief, I think that's where it would probably help Alaska the most. And so how we can present some of the opportunities that we have in Alaska that could be moved more quickly. I think these are opportunities for us, and I think, in fairness, I think this administration would welcome just that. We have seen what it means to be vulnerable from a resource perspective, and we are learning what it means to be vulnerable when it comes to critical minerals. And you have seen this president turn that around in a strong way and say, if you want to talk about all these technologies, if you want to talk about warfighting machines, if you want to talk about how we're going to build more wind terminals, although President Trump would not say he wants to build more wind terminals, but the fact of the matter is you're going to need critical minerals. And so we have seen an effort to try to advance some of these projects in a way that have used some authorities, executive orders that we have seen to impact our opportunities, to enhance our opportunities here in Alaska. So we can rely on laws, but you all know writing a law, passing a law takes a lot longer than an executive order, an emergency order, a waiver, an administrative process that can help facilitate a venture along.
Well, thank you, Senator Murkowski, for your thorough answer to our questions. We truly do appreciate it. Appreciate seeing you here in Juneau. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Madam Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that the joint session be adjourned.
Without objection, the joint session is adjourned.
The House will stand at ease.